you want to see me, you got to come out to this community cleanup I'm doing around Anacostia Park. And
wow.
Let me see if you down for civic duty and not, the other thing that rhyme with duty. And so so I was like,
wow.
And so I came out for the cleanup, and I stayed the entire time. And we got to the end of it, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to stay. So I'm going away for this weekend for my brother's birthday. But when I come back, you can take me out on a date."
Before Jah could take Markita on a date, he had to grab a pair of gloves and help clean up the community. They met on Hinge. Jah found Markita attractive, but when she wasn't giving him much attention on a dating app, he found her on Instagram and consistently started engaging with her posts. Eventually, Markita told him if he wanted to see her, he could come to the community cleanup she was organizing. And when Jah arrived, she didn't even place him in her group, but he stayed, he served, and he helped into the cleanup was completely over. That was when Markita decided he had earned a real date with her. 5 years later, they became husband and wife. I'm Dee Dee Patterson, and on this channel, I share real stories of couples who found lasting love on dating apps because I want you to believe in love again and see that dating apps really can lead to marriage. After all, I met my husband of 15 years on a dating app too. Jah and Markita's story is proof that sometimes the best way to discover someone's character is by watching how they show up and serve. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode. We have Jah and Markita Tarver. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So we're going to get started with the first question. What do you both do for a living?
My 9-to-5 job, I'm a conference planner, and then I have several jobs on the side. So I'm a self-published author.
Wow.
Notary public. I am an ordained minister for weddings. Also work at the Board of Elections part-time, a little bit of side event planning, things like that. So I'm a Jill of all trades.
Yeah. I work as an admin in mental health. Outside of that, that's my pay the bills. But outside of that, I'm a stand-up comedian.
Wow.
Writer, a voice actor, a show producer. I have a show that I'm actually working on producing now. And so, yeah.
You guys have so many jobs in between the both of you. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. And so we have to put some links in the comments of this video so people can reach you guys if they need to. But wow, I'm so impressed. Okay. How long have you guys been married?
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Oh, wow. We got a new one. Newlyweds. 3 months.
March 28th of 2026, and we're in July. So we're very newlywed.
Wow. That's exciting. 3 months. Good. I love seeing couples who just got married just to show dating apps still work in
Yes,
2026.
But here we are. It actually did work.
Good. Okay. So what site did you guys meet on?
Hinge. We met on Hinge.
Hinge. You guys are my first Hinge couple.
Really?
I haven't had Hinge yet. Yay. Okay. So how did you meet? Who wants to tell the story first of how you met?
I can. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, go ahead, Jah.
So I'm on Hinge, and to be completely honest, at this time, I'm not looking for a wife or girlfriend. I'm just looking, to go out on some dates and have some fun.
Okay, interesting.
So I find her page, and she's attractive. And so I'm like, let me, slide in them DMs. And so I did. We had a little back and forth, but she wasn't really on Hinge like that. So I saw that her Instagram was attached to her Hinge, and so I started following her on Instagram and slid in those DMs.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I was very consistent in sliding in those DMs. And so she was like, okay, you want to see me? You got to come out to this community cleanup I'm doing around Anacostia Park. And
wow.
Let me see if you down for civic duty and not, the other thing that rhyme with duty. And so, so I was like,
wow.
And so I came out for the cleanup, and I stayed the entire time. I actually had some of the neighborhood crackheads cleaning up with us. They were in the way, and I had scolded somebody for being in the way while, there were women and children trying to clean up, and they were kind of being rude. And then in our back and forth, they were like, we're going to help y'all. And so,
wow.
And then once she saw I made it to the end, because she put me with a whole nother group when I got there. She saw me. She was like, who are you? I was like, I'm Jah. We were in the DM. She was like, okay, I'm going to put you with them. I was like, oh, is that what we're doing? All right.
Not with Markita. She put you in a whole different group. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't even have an opportunity to get to know her that day. That day, I got to know where she came from. So I saw all of this, and me being from the Bronx, I was like, okay, some of this is similar. And we got to the end of it, and she was like, oh, I didn't expect you to stay. So I'm going away for this weekend for my brother's birthday. But when I come back, you can take me out on a date. And I was like,
wow.
I said, please let me know when you came back. And so we exchanged numbers. There was no more DMs. Yeah. From then, she came back, and we went to Bonefish Grill for our first date. I was late because what I wanted to wear. I was like, this is the first time in a long time where I felt like, oh my God, I got to impress somebody. I was 45 minutes late, I think, for the date.
So before we go into the date, I want to get Markita's side on some of this stuff. But so far, I already love this story. This is so, like, none of this I've heard with any other stories. So I definitely have to hear from Markita. And then we have to go back to you being 45 minutes late.
So what Jacqueline was saying is correct. We met on Hinge. I was getting weirdness from Hinge from some men. So I was kind of phasing out of using Hinge at that point. So that's why I put the media on there, because I was like, if somebody's serious, they'll find me. And that's what he did. And at that point, I had been on a couple of Hinge dates where I was like, guys were inviting me to meet at their house or somewhere, different. I wanted to meet on an even playing field. Up, and I figured the type of man that I wanted would want to do this type of work with me. I invited him to the community cleanup. That's why I did it. I wanted to see if he was into the same community stuff that I was into without having the shield of like, oh, we're at this restaurant, I'm gonna talk about being about it, but I actually wanted to see the action behind it. So when he came, I originally put him in my group, and then we needed to even the groups out. So that's how trying to put him out of the group.
That's a good reason.
It just naturally happened. We needed even because we had a lot of women and children, and he was a big, strong man.
I love his face.
And and so we needed more men in each circle. But when I saw that date, that's when I was really, really like attracted, and like, of course, him because he's a beautiful man, but also because he stayed the entire time. Stop it.
Yeah. I already see the comedian coming out of him, just letting you guys know.
Oh my God, he's tame today. But yeah.
Okay.
And then he was 45 minutes late to the date, but I gave him grace. Usually I run a strict program. So usually I'm like, no, 10, 15 minutes at most. But because he kept texting me and he was like, okay, I'm here. I'm $2.95. I'm on the way. I stayed. And then also we met on April Fool's Day. So that I thought I was being stood up because April Fool's, but he kept interacting. He kept messaging me. So
I was giving her play-by-play.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
That's good. That's good. Anybody, men or women who are late, that make sure they just know where you are at all times.
Yeah, just communication.
Good. When he first contacted you on Instagram, did you know he was someone who found you on Hinge? Did he say, hey, I saw you on Hinge? Or
yes.
So the whole time you knew he was from the dating app?
Yes. But interacting, he was just like kind of commenting on my stories, and not necessarily it was, yes, you're beautiful and you're pretty, but it was also like, hey, I like that song too. Or, hey, I like, this is interesting, like kind of interacting with my post. So it made me want to talk to him more, because he wasn't just saying like, hey, heart eyes and, emojis that are inappropriate. It was more engaging with, I like that song too. That yoga looks cool. Like, when is the next clean? Things like that.
She was doing headstands on her Instagram story. And I was like, oh, okay. She had a balcony on her old apartment, and she would do headstands. Like, she would be on her head, and sometimes she would be saying stuff. Like, she'd be in a headstand, just talking.
This is all good for like guys if you like really like someone and you're trying to figure out how to interact with them. I love this that you were commenting on her stories and her posts on Instagram. So for any of the guys watching, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said not just putting the emojis is not good enough.
Now, I was engaged. If you're interested, don't be wasting nobody's time. I was actually interested. I'm interested in this woman. So I was saying things that would show her that I was interested. Had something in relation. I was like, okay, that's a way I know that we're in relation. I can start a conversation with her, because she really wasn't giving me the time of day. Like, she was not. And then finally I was in the DMs enough. I had to work it up. Like it was not, a quick exchange and then we went on a date. No, she was running. She led the chase and I pursued.
What made you stay so persistent with her not giving you the time of day?
She is what I was looking for. And I didn't know that I was looking for my wife. I knew I was looking for a connection, someone that piqued my interest, someone that feel like a high school boy again, someone that made me like interested in actually getting to know them as a person, as opposed to something casual. Once I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, that's a wife.
Wow.
That's not something you just, fly by night, which is why once we started dating, we were dating. Like that was, we were with every day from that day.
What on her dating profile made her stand out that you pursued her on Instagram and you just kept engaging with her Instagram? What stood out on her dating profile?
I don't think it was her profile. I think it was her. I saw her and I was like, I want to see if there's more. Because her dating profile didn't tell a lot about her. So her aesthetic that piqued my interest. And then once I found her Instagram and I saw who she was, I saw the civic duty. I saw, the engagement in community. I saw being her own community that she had created for herself. And I saw her doing things not for the eye or for the congratulations of somebody else, but just simply because that's what she wanted to do. Because in this day and age, there's a lot of people that do because they assume that's what somebody else will want them to do. They're representative. And so I actually, as a human being and not who she wanted me to see her as.
Okay, that's good. And then Markita, was there anything on his profile that stood out about Jah? Because I don't know if you actually became interested until after he did the community service, but was there anything on his profile that interested you?
What interested me in his profile is he talked a lot about, like, I could tell, like, he was a conscious person. Like, he was conscious. Like, he would talk about things in the spirit realm. He would talk about things like excellence and things like that. And like just the different things like I was interested in because we met during COVID. Like, I think that context also matters because a lot was going on during COVID. So on our first date, we did the cleanup. On our second date, I think we went to a Don't Mute DC go-go protest and things like that. I saw his page. I knew that, like, of course, he liked anime. He might have been a little bit. I didn't like anime at the time, but it was like certain conscious things that he was doing.
Watching it.
Now I watch it, but like his profile was more like, reposting things like the George Floyd stuff and like Tatiana Jefferson. Like there's different names and different Breonna Taylor and those type of things. And as a Black man putting those faces on his profile, I felt very attracted to that because he cared about the same things I cared about. And not care about them. His profile, of course, he had nice selfies and things like that, but he also showed depth in his profile. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Whereas the other guys on Hinge was like, I'm just looking for a fling, basically, in beautiful words. His was more, I guess, targeted. Like, of course, he was looking for anything super serious. And I wasn't either. So I was okay with that. But it was the intention behind his character that was being presented on his page.
Nice. Okay. Good. Yeah, that's really good. First saw each other, was there like any love at first sight type for either of you?
I thought he was really cute. Of course, some of us were still wearing masks at the time. So his eyes, and he obviously have gorgeous eyes, but also I was at a point in my life where I was like super guarded. So I don't necessarily love at first sight. It was definitely attraction at first sight. I think probably grew to love after our conversations and our first date. Because I feel like after our first date, we just didn't stop talking. So I guess we met March 25th or something. And then we went on our first date on April 1st. So on April 1st, we just basically poured everything on the table. Like we told each other, this is what's good about me. This is what's bad about me. This is my red flags. This are my triggers. Like he was 45 minutes late, but when he came to the table, that's what we did. Everything on it. this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I'm coming out of. I just had this type of relationship in the past. Like everything was on the first date. And I was really attracted to that because I'm like, I don't know you, but we're building this friendship / bond right here at this table for a couple hours.
Did the food come out before you told everything about your pour everything out? Did the food come out yet? Or
that was like the appetizer.
That was the appetizer. Yeah.
That was the appetizer. Okay. And you just pour everything out.
Y'all ready to order? We sat at Bonefish Grill for 3 hours.
Yeah.
The longest time I've ever sat at a restaurant table in my life. But it was like, it wasn't like super busy in there, so they weren't in a rush to kick us out. We bought food and we left a really nice tip. So yeah, we sat there. That's the first time I ever sat and like poured everything out on the first date.
Same.
Everything else is be superficial. Every other date I've had before then was like really superficial. Like, oh, my favorite color is purple.
Where do you work?
I enjoy long walks to Popeyes. Like, just, you know, things like that.
Who came in and just like...
Definitely started
I
it.
did.
Like, I think it's late, and so he came in hot, but it wasn't in a bad way. It was like, this is what's going on. And then it was like straight into conversation. Like, what do you do? Like, we may have been superficial for the first 3 questions. And then after it just got a little deeper. And I think it was partially because one, he opened up so soon, and I'm comfortable with deep conversation. I don't really like small talk, if I'm being honest, but that deep conversation opened me up to be like, you know what, let's put it on the table because I'm not trying to waste my time either.
And I was because of what I was trying to do. So that's what opened it up. When I got there, I felt like I looked a mess. So I got there and I was like, I'm so sorry I'm late. As you can see, I wanted to impress her. And I had on bootcut jeans with low top sneakers. And I was like, I look like a poop hut right now. I was cursing this whole way over here. And then I was like, well, since, you know, we talking, you know, might as well just like be open. And then from there, we just started talking. She was like,
nice.
Actually, I asked her why people being late made her mad. She had made a comment about like, oh, she would have been left if it wasn't, if I wasn't telling her. Giving her the update or whatever. She said, you must be special or something like that, some alluding to that because I would have been left. And so I asked her why, and she opened up to it, and I found out, you know, why she's like so anal about timing and being on time and stuff like that. And that's how we got into like the conversation, in-depth conversations about, you know, the soul touching.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah, no, this is all good. Okay, so you had the deep conversations, and it sounded like after talking about everything, just laying it all out, that you guys still liked each other afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, more.
Yeah, even more.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Like, we didn't skip through the friendship part, but we made a really strong bond that day where it was like, I was telling him stuff my family don't know about me. And he was telling me stuff his family probably don't know about him. And then on top of that, we were just like, okay, I can deal with that. Like, I can meet you halfway with that. And he was like, well, I can meet you halfway with, you know, I understand the late thing. I won't be late again. And he wasn't late again. I don't think he ever was late again.
Good. That's good. He took the feedback well. That's good.
Yes, that's important.
Okay. So then you had your first date and you just laid it all out. Then what happened after that? Like, how long did it take for you guys to become serious? Like, decide, hey, it's us. We're a couple.
Well, I would say about 2-3 months. And I don't know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Went on our first date April 1st, and then his dad passed in June. And that, I think, was one of the turning points for me in our relationship because I had lost my dad in 2016. And so to see someone actively go through that, it kind of drew me closer to him. And I don't know, it like kind of pushed us closer together. But for me, it helped me because I can see him through all seasons, through the joyful season, through the serving, the grieving season, through the, you know, I need a little bit space season. And then I was able to really connect to him. And then I think we became boyfriend and girlfriend over the summertime, that summer.
Okay. Good. Yeah, that's really good. And you said you were with him through the time where he felt like he needed space. So during the time when his father passed, you were like, I don't want to, like, I need some time because I have a lot of dating coaching clients. And so sometimes the guy that they're with says he needs space. Is that what happened there? And how were you able to deal with that?
Yeah, I'll answer that if that's what happened. Yes, that is what happened. I did tell her I needed space because it was difficult for me considering the details surrounding my father's death. And so I really didn't know how to process anything.
And it was tough because I wanted to be there for him. I wanted him to need me, but it wasn't about me at that time. I was there the night his dad passed, and then he needed space and he went to the funeral alone. And I was kind of sad. I was like, why wouldn't he invite me to go be with him? But then I had to think about, it's not about me. None of this is about me. Like, we're only a couple months in. I did get the honor of meeting his dad before he passed, which I was happy about, but it wasn't about me. I needed him to be comfortable with handling his family business without me, because technically in my family, unless you're married, you're not family. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I allowed him that space, there was a point in time when I was like, I don't know if he's going to like come back and be like ready to dive back in. But he did. He did it on his own time. And there were days where, you know, maybe we're not sleeping in the same room. Maybe I'm going to my house and you're going to your house. But then we eventually came back together.
Yeah. No, I love that, Markita, that you had such a healthy attitude about it. And I mean, you took it personal a little bit, which is understandable, but you still was like, let me give him his space. And then he comes back, and he ended up coming back. So I love that. Okay. So then you got exclusive in a few months later. And then how long did it take you to get engaged and then married? It seemed like a lot of time passed because the pandemic was 6 years ago. So,
It's 4 years.
It was 4 years, but we agreed once we started dating that we would increase each year. So we moved in the next year after that. We became boyfriend and girlfriend, and then together. Another year passed. He got me a promise ring. Another year passed. We got engaged. And then this year we finally got married on year 5. So that would have been our 5th year anniversary.
So you dated for 5 years and then got married. Okay. All right. That's good. And then now that you've known each other for 6 years now, I guess it's been for 6 years, what do you like about each other now? So, Markita, what do you really like about Jah now that you've been around him for so long?
I love the fact that he is so expressive. Like, he's able to communicate well. I have to think about what he wants because he tells me. I love how compassionate he is. I love how he is so affectionate towards me because growing up, I didn't have a lot of affection. I love how he always checks in to make sure I'm okay. I love how he works hard to give me what I need and want. And I love how he looks. That's important. And I love him consistent. And that's how we got here, because he's always been consistent. He always had a plan for me. He's always told me what it is that he wants and needs so that I can actually meet him halfway. Yeah, I think that's a good place to. Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Jah? What about Markita do you really, really like?
I really like that she is, what's the word? Markita is very, not controlling because that sounds bad. Like, she is in control. Like, she has everything down to a T. I love the fact that Markita is very organized. Like, everything, she plans everything down to the finest detail. And for some who just be out here winging it, like, I can thoroughly appreciate somebody who does that, because I'm in business. Doing business as a comedian. And so she reminds me of that. I feel like as people who support each other in business, that's going to take us both very far. I love how she is and attentive that she is. When you tell her something, she does not forget it. It's not a thing that you have to like consistently remind her of. If it's a date, she going to remind me, even if it's something I plan. Like, remember, we got I set the reservation, but she's going to do that. Like, she felt like she was hard to love because nobody got the soft her that I get. And so when she is actually vulnerable, I thoroughly enjoy how affectionate she is. Markita's affection feels like a blanket that could turn into a cape to make you feel like you could do whatever you want to do or whatever you want to put your
wow.
She is the most supportive partner ever. For a moment, she was my manager with comedy shows, especially when I started. She's the reason why I stepped my toe in the comedy waters, and why I'm still doing it now.
Nice.
She is, I feel like, as a Black man who engages in community and who loves community and who loves Black people, it is imperative that you be with someone who's equally yoked, who is equally dedicated to doing community work and doing the decolonizing within themselves as much as they want to decolonize everything else around them. To be able to do that work with somebody who I feel like I'm learning more from, from her is an honor. and a privilege. Every day, ecstatic that I get an opportunity to show her that I'm worthy of her choice.
I love it. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I don't know how Markita is holding it together because, yeah.
Oh, no,
Keep going.
I think goofy thoughts.
Okay. Okay.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, because you said her affection is like a cape for you. That was, wow, amazing. That's beautiful.
Them kisses, oh man.
Oh,
They tell you I can't start stimming. I hit the James Brown real quick.
He does. What do you do?
I start running laps. Like I caught the Holy Spirit.
He does.
Oh,
I love his
that is so beautiful. And like the best part is you guys have been together 5-6 years, and for you guys to still feel that way, I love it.
Oh yeah.
And so something else you said that I just want to call it out. You said not that many people can see the soft her. So that's interesting. So what about Jah brought out the soft you that you felt okay to show that part of you?
Leading by example is what he does that helps me. I don't know if you like all the craze on the internet right now about the oldest daughter situation. The oldest daughter is always the most responsible and always the most protective of the family. So for a long time, I feel like I've been an adult for a long time, even if as a child, like starting to work when I was 13 years old, like trying to be the middle person between siblings or family or, just I've always felt like I've had to put myself in the backseat. And I feel like when I met him, he would pull me to the front and say like, or you're not the person supposed to be pulling the curtain. You're supposed to be on the stage. The way he treats me feels like that, like how he puts me first and he puts my feelings first and asks me, what do you think about this? Because even a question like, what do you think about that? Like being raised, like, you stay in a child's place and, as a child, you're supposed to be seen and not heard, all of the Black household sometimes, like, so you get that feeling like, okay, I'm supposed to be seen and not heard. I'm only supposed to intervene when things are looking crazy. But to have the space to be vulnerable and speak about how I feel and to express like what it is that my hopes and dreams are and not be like, belittled for them or, we're both artists to a certain extent. And to be able to create without being shamed for wanting to do these things. Like in a Black community, sometimes it's like, oh, you want to be a comedian? Tell me a joke. But but it's almost like, when you're an artist and you're in a Black space, you're kind of laughed at a little bit. Read poetry to him. He's like rap to me, and we're able to do these things freely without being judged. And I appreciate that. Some people look at activism as if it's aggression and say like, she's too woke is what I've heard in the past, or, somebody who can balance me out and say like, okay, like I want to love on you today and let's not, talk about that stuff today. And then sometimes he talks about it and I'm like, hey, let's put our phones down today. It's that like, let's just talk about it. Let's be open about it. Let's, come to an understanding or work through this problem together. That made me bring my walls down.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that you definitely seem like you balance each other and that you guys are equally yoked. So I love that. I love being able to see that with you and that the world can see. Yeah,
and we have so many differences too. You wouldn't even know so many differences, like in practices and political thoughts. Like we are so like opposite end of the spectrum.
But what makes it work, even though you have so many differences?
Her as a person. I see her as a person. Her ideals and those things, they matter. I could never agree with someone who was against the humanity of another person. And I feel like that's the limit, that, that's the line I draw. And none of her beliefs or ideals dehumanize anybody else. I may not agree with them. They may not be practical to me, but they don't impede on anybody else's freedoms or humanity. So I'm able to be like, okay, we just don't agree on that.
Okay. I like it.
The understanding of like, I'm like one of those self-help book people. Like, that's just my thing. So I love to hear different perspectives. And sometimes those perspectives help shape mine, but sometimes I can reject a perspective without rejecting the person. And I can say like, hey, like I could talk to someone who has completely different beliefs and then we can agree to disagree and move on. But the way it works in our household is we can have healthy debates and then we can come to ending by saying, okay, we still in love with each other, but we just don't agree with that thing. You know, certain of our religious practices come together, and then so we can do that together. But then there's certain things that we may want to do by ourselves. As far as like politics and stuff, we can talk about it, and I could say like, okay, you can, you know, downplay mine, I can downplay yours, but at the end of the day, we're still friends. Like, and we can still vote completely different or not, you know, but it's being understanding to a point of this is a person's something they believe in or something that's a trait of theirs, but it's not who they are as a person. That their belief is a small piece of who they are. Sometimes some belief that they have or understanding that they have is not them as a whole person. It's just a small piece of who they are.
What advice do you have for people looking for love online? Because you guys did it differently than most people did it. So what advice do you have for people who are looking for love online?
Be yourself. Be authentic to who you are. Don't put on a profile what you think somebody wants to hear. For me, I know at the time that I found him, I was completely whole within who I was. I was practicing all my own hobbies for my own self. And yes, I was doing handstands online, but it wasn't for male gaze. It was for, I actually did this. Like, I worked so hard to do this, and look at me, I'm doing this. It was more so me falling in love with myself, me showing how I was. On my profile, again, I put like, I'm looking for someone to be a couch potato with me, because sometimes I'm a couch potato. For someone to do pool and try to pull me outside, because sometimes I need to be pulled out. So my advice would be stay true to who you are. Start with friendship. I know that's in people's profile. I'm looking for friendship. And don't get turned off if they are just looking for friendship, because they could be like me, looking to start by friends and grow.
Good advice. What about you, Jah?
For women, I would say believe what you see.
Okay.
For men, the less you lie to yourself, the easier it'll be for you to accomplish whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish with dating. And I say that because I feel like us as men just being like honest, like tearing down the third wall. We tend to say we want a thing and then act against that thing. We say we're not looking for a relationship, but then we get with a young lady who we say we're not looking for a relationship and treat her as if we are trying to embark on a relationship with her. The action match what you say your intentions are. So if you want friends or you want somebody who to have casual sex with, then you find that. But don't lie to get what it is that you want. Be completely honest about it. As much as we like to say women don't respect honesty, they do. As much as we like to say that women are the more emotional creatures, they aren't. We are. Being completely honest. And any honest man will tell you, we are very emotional. And a lot of us have a hard time regulating our emotions. So be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and be honest with that woman about what you want. And if she wants the same thing, she's going to tell you she wants the same thing. You are going to attract what you put out. You are being dishonest. Women follow leaders. If you're going to be dishonest, the women that are going to follow you are going to have that same energy, because that's what your energy field is attracting.
Okay. Interesting.
I think some men don't know they're emotional because they don't look at like anger as an emotion or indifference as an emotion. Or, you know, like
ego,
yeah.
Right.
Different things can be emotion. It's not just emotional doesn't mean you're just a crying man. And that's coming from a Cancer zodiac woman who is often deemed emotional, but emotions can be, there's a spectrum of emotions, not just, it's not just crying. So
that's a good point. Okay. Usually I ask, how long were you on the dating site before you met each other? I didn't ask that. So how long were you guys on Hinge before you met each other?
Not long for me. It was new.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was new for me, and I paid for the subscription. That's the first dating app I paid for the subscription.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like maybe a month or two.
A month or two. Okay. What about you, Markita?
I was going to say, I'm almost ashamed to answer. I was on Tinder for about a year. I was on Bumble for about a year. Hinge for about a year and a half.
Okay.
I was on dating apps for about 3.5 years. But before I met him, I was single for about 10 years, and I was moving states every 2 years. So either dating app made sense because I didn't know anybody in the area. So about 3.5 years, but I didn't stick to one profile. If I didn't find anything in a year, I moved on. So
Okay. Interesting. Just for other people who've been on dating apps forever and they wouldn't see how long it took for you guys to meet your person. So that's good.
Sometimes you have to switch the app too. I would say that Hinge was more intentional because Hinge AI was a little different and that I was matched with him, but then he kept coming up for me. Whereas in Bumble, there was like, it was a different dynamic. But AI on Hinge, I will give a hat off to because I don't know if it's like a super like or something, but it was like.
Yeah, I super liked you.
I was about to say, maybe it was a super like.
Like I said, I was funny on them apps, so I had all of them, upgrades. And so I was popping up because there's this thing that you can do on certain dating apps, especially if you have enough, what's the word? Don't be looking at me like that.
No, I'm curious. I didn't know this.
Especially if you have enough, what's the word, rapport on the app where like you're using it a lot. They'll give you like, we'll blast your page for like the next hour. So you'll come up and somebody is cute.
Yeah, somebody's cute.
And you above whoever else. And so I was always putting myself up in the queue.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you use the dating app regularly, they'll start showing you to more people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more frequent you are, the more interactive you are, the more they'll show you on the queue.
Wow.
So people can choose you. So you have more variety.
Nice. Okay. Good. And then was this both of your first marriages?
Yes.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. This is your first time. Okay.
It's the first time I've ever entertained marriage with somebody. And then.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. You guys have been married for 3 months, but still, I'm gonna ask you, what marriage advice do you have just from the 3 months you've been married?
None.
Okay, because I had advice from the first week of marriage, so that's like I know you.
I was going to say I have some because life does change a little bit after you get married. Because I would just say like the mindset of marriage and the spirituality of marriage does take you to a different level, and you have to change with the levels you're going through. We've only been married for 3 months, but we've had a few changes, like as far as our circle, as far as the way we have to communicate with each other. Those things are always fluctuating. And I say that because like now that we both waited till we're 34 to get married.
Okay.
So we were already pretty much set in our own ways of doing things. But now we have to think for the relationship and not just for ourselves. Like before we can say like, hey, I can say I'm gonna get coffee every day and I'm gonna get, outside food every day. But now I have to think we're budgeting as a unit. Like this is, I have to really run things past my husband, and that's okay. When I was a single woman, I would never, you know what I mean? But like as a married couple, we have to think of things differently. So I will say within those 3 months, our conversations have changed. Our thoughts on different things have changed. Even where we want to live has changed. Talking about building a family, and you're talking about like, the school districts that's in the area. So things do change. And it's not that we're changing as people, but we're evolving as a couple.
Okay.
I'll pick it up. I will say, because I said I don't have any. What I will say is, do not go into your marriage thinking that the person that you married is going to change into somebody different. The person you said that you wanted to marry, that same woman you need to marry, that's going to be the person that you marry. She's not going to automatically turn into what your idea of what a wife is supposed to be because you decided to make her your wife. If you are going into the commitment of marriage, commit to that person. You can commit to growth with one another, but understand that person is that person, and that's who you're marrying.
Good stuff. Yeah, very accurate. So that's good. Just marry someone you already liked them before marriage.
That's right.
You're not going to change.
Yeah. Y'all don't like.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also for the wrong reasons. Like like when getting married, there were certain people who, of course, the issue of money comes up and the issue of like proximity comes up and things just come up. But like, you just got to stay on the same page. Like I'm still the same person I was before we got married. But some of our ideals have changed, some of our stances on things have changed because we're thinking for one another as opposed to like ourselves and our families. Because when you get married, even the Bible says like, your wife, your husband comes first above the family, unfortunately. And that's a dynamic shift.
A lot of my dating app couples, they get married very quickly. They found the person, they get married. What made you guys wait so long after you found each other to get married?
I wasn't ready, especially as the person who dictates that process. I was not in this space. When she met me, I was sleeping on my mother's couch.
I see.
Working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
My life was not great. I had just moved to Maryland not too long ago. I came back from Philly, actually. I was in a space where I was progressing, getting my life together. I didn't want to go into a future like that. And like she said, here we progressed. Every year was like, I'm talking about like lifetimes of progression in like 1 year. Certifications, jumping from, making this much money to a whole entire $20 difference.
Right.
So it was a lot that needed to be done, but it was always in mind. And so once I felt like, all right, cool, I know we're okay. Let's take this next step.
Okay. That makes sense. Because a lot of the other couples, they are already pretty stable. Yeah. So you probably weren't in that place when you first met. Okay.
Not stable enough.
That makes sense.
And not just like financially stable either, but just like healing from our past relationships, because we both went through some relationship that weren't the healthiest. But then also was in a transitional period as well. Like as a conference planner during COVID, I was laid off for a while. And so I was going through the process of moving back in with my mom and like trying to figure life out and dig myself out of the COVID situation that I was in. But I was also at the top of my loving myself era. Like I was running 3 miles a day and doing yoga and things like that. So I finally fell in love with who I was as a person. So I was scared to be in a relationship with someone again.
I just wanted to say, I think that was largely because of how we set things out on the table, our first date. It led the charge. It let us know like, okay, we can be with one another and get to know one another as we're going through this journey and see how this goes. And so we've grown together. I think that is probably one of the things that makes our bond so much stronger, is because we watched each other struggle to get to the next spot.
Gotcha.
But there's certain things that you can't assist somebody with. You just got to support them the best you can and watch them do what they do, because certain aspects of that don't involve or include you,
Good stuff. Okay. Good. All right. So then the last question, what is your favorite part about being married? I know it's been 3 months, but what is your favorite part about being married?
You already know what you're going to say again?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's my favorite part, and it's kind of cringy for me a little bit. I'm becoming one of those people who's like made being a husband his personality. And so like every time I go outside, I want to wear something that say my wife, whatever on it. I'm like, yeah.
Aww.
I put this sweater on, and she was like, "You're not about to leave me out." My sweater said,
"What does it say?" Okay, wait. It says, "My wife don't play about me." I'm assuming my husband don't play about me. Yeah. I love it. I didn't even notice your shirts this whole time.
I know.
I became a head ass.
For you, Markita, what is your favorite part about being married?
I love the fact that our families have blended. I love the I get to come home and talk to him about anything and everything. I love the fact that we're planning our lives together. It's exciting. I was going to be ignorant and say trying to have a baby, because neither one of us have children right now. And I just had his 35th birthday is coming up. So we're thinking a lot about children now. We're thinking a lot about where we're going to live. And it's almost like we're building our lives together. So that's kind of the part that has made me happy. And then like my relationship with his mom and his family, like I love them to pieces. Like, and it feels good. It's almost like you're setting up the Sims. Like, okay, these are going to be my baby's aunties, and this is going to be my baby's grandmom, and like this is what we're going to do on Christmas, and this is what we're going to do on Thanksgiving. So it's like those family aspects. And then we did an ancestry test together and seeing where our families come from naturally. It's like, I look at it as we're getting a chance to build a generation now. Like this is our, like our, the holidays at our house and things like that. Like I'm looking forward to all of that because it tells of a life that we have together. Like I'm the one in the relationship that takes all the pictures because they're so near and dear to me, because I know that these are the moments that I want our children to see. Like I want them to have family photos in the house. I want them to see, go to grandma's house and go to this event and cousins' birthdays. And so that's my favorite part of it. It's like us blending our families and also being a part of each other's lives, me going to his shows and seeing him perform. And I mean, we could do that when we're single, but doing it married feels really supportive.
It feels like communion.
It does.
I love it. So good.
Hopefully we inspire some other people who maybe are a little apprehensive of stepping out, taking that step, because it is scary out here. Yeah, but with intention.
Yeah.
And I'm nice.
off that. Just thank you for this platform and, you know, giving people stories that actually work, because there are a lot of people who won't dare to go on dating apps. And I beg to differ. Like it worked for us. I was on there a little longer than I probably should have been, but this is what happens when your intentions are pure. And like my intentions from the beginning of those dating apps to the end change. And so I would just say it works. Dating online dating works, and it
Love it.
effective for us. And all stories are different. You don't have to put all your business out there on the first date if you don't believe in that. We did.
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
It worked for us. So I would just say everything with intention.
Thanks so much for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe for more real life love stories from couples who met on dating apps. And if you're ready to find your own person, I've linked some free resources below to help you get started. See you in the next video.